Deciding whether to sell your current home before buying a new property is a difficult decision to make. There are lots of moving parts and it can be complicated and stressful, especially if you need the funds from your current home to close on your new property. In a perfect world, your new home is ready as soon as your previous property closes, but it doesn't always work out that way. But with careful consideration and planning, it is possible to make this process go as smoothly as possible. My name is Ryan Gillard at Real Broker, your Calgary Realtor, and in this video, I'll answer the question, should you sell your home before buying a new one? And I'll go over all the pros and cons of either buying first or selling first, so this is a video that you're not going to want to miss. All right, if you are watching this and you are thinking of going through the buying or selling process, I would love to be a resource and help you out. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. You can call, text, email, or comment. All that information can be found in my written description below. All right, let's get right into it. All right, first things first here, and to make your life as easy as possible, you're going to want to hire a good real estate agent and a good mortgage broker. I would say use a mortgage broker over the bank simply because they're easier to deal with. If you call up the bank, it goes straight to voicemail. They have banker's hours and they can only offer their own products. So if you walk into a TD bank, they're not going to offer you like an RBC mortgage or a Treasury branch mortgage, even though it might be better for your situation. Whereas a mortgage broker, they're easy to get a hold of. You can call or text them. They're working off commission, so they're going to be, working hard to get the deal done for you. And they can offer products from any different branch or lender. So they've got more options available to them, which can help you out. And I would also say hire a good real estate agent simply because there's lots of moving parts in this process when you're buying and selling. A lot of agents are part-time. You don't want that. You want someone that's full-time, that has some experience in the business, and they can help you out on the selling end. They let you know exactly how much you can sell for, how long it should take, the marketing plan, break down the commission for you. And on the buying end, they can help you out each step of the way, write up a good purchase contract, protect you along the way with the right conditions, and make sure it's as smooth as possible. And moving along, let's touch on the market conditions. So it could be a buyer's market, a seller's market, or maybe even a balanced market. And this can make the process difficult depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So let's first touch on the buyer's market. So real estate is best described by supply and demand. If you have a large supply of homes, so large inventory, and not many buyers, that's a buyer's market. So the buyers have like their pick of the litter, and you'll see long days in the market for the listings. You'll see price declines. You'll see concessions given to the buyer. So in this market, what I would probably do is list your home first and sell it, because that will be harder than buying the next property, because there's going to be a lot of homes to choose from in a buyer's market. That won't be the hard part, but selling it will be. Now, if it were me personally, I would list your home aggressively, which you have to do in a buyer's market, and then I would start the search for your next home at the exact same time, because in a buyer's market, the seller is more open to accepting offers with the sale of your home condition in it, which I've done many times. So that's probably what I would do in this situation. And let's touch on the seller's market, which we are currently in Calgary. So this is when you have a lot of buyers, but not many homes to choose from. So they're being pushed into fewer homes. So you're seeing unconditional offers, sight unseen offers, rising prices, lineups to view homes. So it's a bit of a crazy time, just crazy prices. And so if you are a seller, you can really take advantage of the situation by pricing your home well and preparing it for sale. I've got a video on this topic, how to prepare your home for sale, which you can find right here. And in this market, you'd be careful what kind of offers that you look at. I certainly wouldn't be looking at an offer subject for the buyer selling their home in a seller's market. That could really screw you over. So if you are looking at buying or selling and you're in a seller's market, I would definitely try to find a home first before selling your home if you can. We will touch on that going forward in more detail. And moving along, I will touch on the pros and cons of selling first and buying first. And first up, let's talk about the advantages of selling first. And the most obvious one is that you'll have an easier time qualifying for the new mortgage if you sell first, because you can use the sale proceeds as part of the down payment. And also to mention, it's easier because a lot of people can't qualify to have two homes at the same time. So the bank just assumes you're going to keep both properties. So they're going to make sure that you can hold both of them. Like they're going to check your debt servicing ratio and stuff like that. And it's going to be difficult to actually qualify to have two mortgages at the same time. And it will let you know exactly what your budget is. Like say for example that you're listing your home for $800,000 and you're hoping for that price, but it turns out that market value is actually $720,000, and that might throw your plans totally off. So you'll know exactly what your budget is if you sell first, and it also prevents you from looking at homes that are not in your plans. Maybe you're looking at too low of a price range or too high of a price range. But if you do sell your property, you'll know exactly where you stand. You'll avoid paying for two properties at the same time, which can be very stressful. And it's not just the mortgage that you have to worry about. It could be the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, condo fees, maybe homeowners association dues, and on and on and on. It can be very stressful paying for two at the same time. And it also makes your offer more competitive if you've already sold your property and you don't have to have the sale of your home conditioned in the contract. I would say even in a balanced market, not just a seller's market, but a balanced market, sellers hate that condition. There's too much uncertainty with it. So if you can avoid that situation, it makes your offer way more competitive. And I would say there's just less stress and anxiety knowing that your property is already sold, you know the final sales price, and you're free to look at new homes without having the condition to sell your home in the contract. And there are some downsides with selling your property first. So you've sold your property, you bought a new home, and maybe the possession doesn't line up all that well. You could end up in a rental for some time. Moving twice is not that much fun, and you might have to pay to store some of your furniture as well. So there are a few downsides to selling first. And I'll just give you a couple examples of how to make this work out. So the first example here, this is a contract I did a couple years ago with a friend of mine. We were on the buying end, and the seller, they were buying the home afterwards, and the market was red hot. Selling was the easy part. We were actually in competing offers, but they were worried they couldn't find a property after they sold this home. So to make things easier for the seller, we had the idea to give this seller flexible possession in the contract, and this is actually what made us win in the competing offer situation. So in the additional terms of the contract, we wrote down the possession date to be decided by the seller at their discretion. The possession date must be between April 1st and July 1st of 2021. The seller will notify the buyer in writing with an amendment to this contract to change the possession date and also give the buyer at least 20 days notice. So we did this offer, I think it must have been like February or March, and we gave them until like July to find the next property. And it all worked out quite smoothly. After like 2 months, they sent us the notice that we had 20 days for possession, and everybody was happy. Now, the next scenario that could happen is if you close on a property, the current homeowner could rent back the property from the new owner and pay them rent for like a month or two or whatever it is. So the homeowner gets their cash so they can use that as a down payment, and the buyer gets some monthly cash flow while the process is playing out. So you're basically renting it back from the owner to allow them to find a new property. So this can work out. You have to think outside the box though, but there are options to make this work out for both parties. Moving along, let's talk about the advantages to buying a property first. Now, the most obvious one here is that you're not moving twice and all the cost and headache associated with that. You're not living with family or friends or renting a property. And another major benefit if you buy a property first and you stay in your current home is it allows you to make renovations and improvements to your brand new property. And on the flip side, if you buy a property that's move-in ready, it gives you time to actually renovate or improve your current home that you're going to sell. Now, there are a few downsides with buying a property first in that you might have to carry two mortgages, come with the down payment, all the costs associated with carrying two homes, like the taxes, insurance, maybe the condo fees, all the pressure and stress that might cause you. And you might risk the market as well. You might buy a property at a high price and then maybe the market turns around and you're selling at a lower price now. It sounds far-fetched, but I watched this happen in Calgary in late 2014 into 2015. So it definitely can happen. So if you are going to buy a property first, there are a few things that you can do to make the process go a bit more smoothly. The first one being the sale of buyer's property schedule. So this schedule is attached to the purchase contract, making the offer contingent on the sale of your home. Now, in a balanced market or a buyer's market, this is a bit easier to accomplish. In a red-hot seller's market, you can't expect most sellers to tie up their property when there's a lineup of buyers out the door. But I have done quite a few of these, and it is a legitimate option, but it is a bit harder when the market favors the seller. It's a very simple form, just one page. Seller at the top, buyer over here, the address of the property in question, the brokerage asking price, when it will be listed on the MLS system, and there's typically a time clause in Calgary. Usually it's 48 hours, but I've seen 72 or 96. What this means is if a seller accepts a different offer, they have to give you like the 48 hours notice to waive all of your conditions, or you're out of the contract. Your offer is terminated and they can move on to the next offer on the home. Now, the second option here to make things easier is discuss with the mortgage broker the option of a home equity line of credit. That's called a HELOC, where you can borrow against the value of your home and you could possibly take out money as the down payment for the next property. That's a legitimate option. And more commonly, you see the bridge loan. This is like a short-term loan that bridges the gap between selling your home and buying the next one. And they can be kind of expensive, but it is a legitimate option that's very common to help bridge the gap between the two transactions. Well, there you go. That's my take on buying and selling in Calgary. There are pros and cons for buying first or selling first. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are out there watching this and you are thinking of buying, selling, or relocating, I want to be a resource and help you out. All my information is in the written description below. Call, text, email, comment. I'd love to help you out. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.